Mics, camera, action. Welcome to another episode of Takaro Kids. Now, we've been talking a lot about politics, a lot about things happening around the world, a lot of, okay stories, kind of sad stories, not such exciting stories. This time, which is why we decided to focus on something fun. And I love this episode, Kiran.
Fun. It's all about science and technology. Yeah. It is definitely our favorite. And this time we are talking about 2025 being the year of the octopus. What is that, Debbie? The year of the octopus. I mean, I know that every year in China they have a year of an animal, right? That's how they kind of list out their year. It's the year of the pig and the dog and blah, blah, blah. What is the year of the octopus, though?
According to the Chinese calendar, 2026 is the year of the horse. But according to scientists, 2025 was the year of the octopus. And that's not because of what you just said. It's because scientists in the UK suddenly saw that there were a huge number of octopuses.
I think it's still octopus, isn't it? The plural?
It is octopuses. The plural of octopus is octopuses.
I've always said there are many octopus in the sea. Or
now you know.
Octopuses.
Now you know.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. So it's also called the year of the octopus bloom by some of the scientists because they saw suddenly unprecedented amounts of octopuses in the ocean, in the coastal waters across the UK. And this is very, very unusual. Okay. Now, we have to understand what the octopus is like as a creature. It's a really, really shy creature. It does not like being around human beings and around too much human activity. They're not easy to spot. You have to go really deep down and look under rocks and crevices inside the ocean to actually find them. And suddenly scientists were seeing them everywhere in the waters, right? Yeah. And people were wondering why this is.
And they're like the chameleons of the water, right? They kind of can take on shapes and colors and mimic what's around them. So it's actually very tough to usually spot them. Even if you go diving, even if you go snorkeling, it's very tough to actually spot octopus. But
there's octopuses, yeah. They're the masters of disguise. They're really good, like you said, at camouflage. And they're also, by the way, did you know, the octopus does not have any bones, which is why they can fit into all kinds of narrow spaces. It just has to be as big as their, beak. So if you look at the octopus, it's got a little beak. If the beak can fit, the rest of the octopus can fit. So they can actually go into things as small as a tiny coin, so they can just move in. That's why they're so hard to spot, and that's why it's so hard to study as well.
And they're extremely, extremely intelligent beings. Scientists have basically put them into mazes where they have to find their way around, and they have been able to find their way around. They've been able to I think I remember there was this one experiment where they were making the octopus click a button to get food. And so it understood that it needed to click a button to get food after just a couple of attempts. And such crazy things. You would never think about it, but it's amazing.
So that's the thing. And scientists are like, okay, this creature has been so elusive. Why are there suddenly so many? That's why they called it a bloom, because there were so many of them. And they've said that this is possibly because of climate change. Again, it's no surprise, right?
Yeah.
So they're saying that there's been an unusually mild winter. It's not been as cold. The waters have been warmer than usual. And this is what makes conditions ideal for octopuses to have babies, right? And for those babies then to grow and to survive and to live. Now, octopuses in general don't have very long lives. They live only up to 1 to 3 years, actually. I mean, they grow really fast, live very, very intense lives, and then, sadly, they die out. These octopuses are actually being able to survive and live through to adulthood, and there are so many of them at the same time. Now, if you remember, back in October 2025, we had talked about the climate tipping point, right? This is another report that scientists had taken out. They talked about how the Earth has reached a tipping point. A tipping point is when something changes so much that there's no way that you can go back to the previous state, right? So they had said that there was a major tipping point that we had reached where a lot of our coral reef were going to die out, right? And there was nothing we could do about it, and we had to stop the warming, right? And I think this is all connected. We've been talking about how the oceans have been warming around the world. And while it is cool and while it is fun to think about, okay, it doesn't hurt to have more octopuses in the ocean, but it's actually a symptom or a sign of something much, much larger and probably not so great for the planet.
Yeah, and I think one important thing to understand is, we're talking about oceans getting warmer, but we're also talking about the ice caps melting. We're talking about, Antarctica's glaciers melting, Arctic glaciers melting, and they're falling into the sea. So if the glaciers are melting, why are the oceans getting warmer, right? And the reason is fundamentally because oceans, they actually absorb 90% of the heat that's trapped in the atmosphere. So all the heat that is getting trapped gets sucked into the ocean. And that heat getting sucked in is actually way more than the coolness factor of a glacier breaking up and melting. So you must understand that that's the impact of the global warming that's happening.
One thing I was wondering about, Kiran, though, was, how do these scientists actually come up with these names and what does that really mean? And why do they actually do this? Why do they name a year a certain thing, right?
Okay,
For example, why not just release a report and say, hey, there are so many octopuses in the ocean because of this reason and this is what we've observed, and leave it at that.
Correct.
But one of the reasons behind why scientists and the scientific community actually names a year a certain thing is because they want to draw your attention to a certain phenomenon because it's connected to something larger and far more important, like we talked about, right? Climate change.
Correct.
If you just said it in a report, you'd read it once, forget about it, right? But if you name it, it will probably stick. And they do this quite often. In fact, human beings, we've always done this, right? We've always had the year of something, the year of this war, the year of that battle, the year of this volcano, because we mark those occasions. And this was an important enough occasion to mark and to remind people that this is happening around us, to pay attention.
Totally makes sense. Thinking about names for each year, do you think 2026 will be the year of us returning to the moon? Because,
whoa!
Yeah, because
would that be something?
That would be amazing because we have Artemis II, which is a mission, which is a rocket, which is going to take humans to the moon for the first time after 50 years. They're not going to land on the moon. They're going to go fly around the moon, do a lot of experiments. They're going to actually use a laser to see if they can speed up communication between the spacecraft and Earth and NASA. The reason for this mission and the first time humans are actually going after 50 years, this is a really, really big deal. They actually launch on February 6th. So if you can think about that date, put it on your calendar, remember it, tell it to your parents, and maybe you can find a video on Feb 7 of that launch. But the reason they're doing it is actually very interesting. It's not for the moon. It is because they're preparing to understand what it would be to create a station in the moon, which becomes a launch pad to Mars. So humans have to go to the moon, stay over there, refuel, do whatever it is, and then launch from there to Mars, because then the trip to Mars becomes shorter. That's why they're doing all these experiments. They're going to be navigating the rocket on their own. The pilot of the rocket, he's going to take over control and do it on his own to see if he can navigate it. Kind of almost testing whether he can actually dock into a moon space station of sorts, and then basically from there launch towards Mars. So this Artemis II is actually a super, super interesting, I would say, mission, because it just creates that excitement of something that we haven't seen for the last 50 years, right? It's crazy. So it's with the idea of establishing a long-term human presence over there. It's going to be about 10 days long, the mission. They're going to be looping around the moon and then come back to Earth. They're going to test the spaceship. They're going to fly it manually, like I said. They're going to do science experiments, communication experiments. So it'll be really, really cool to kind of follow this.
So they're going to be doing so many different things, but no human is going to be landing on the moon this time, right?
No, they aren't. I mean, we've already had about 12 American astronauts who have actually walked on the moon. And all of this was
Wow.
between 1969 and 1972. So within a span of like 3 years, there was Apollo 11, which was the first one where Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, the two people who first stepped foot on the moon. And you
First
remember
step,
there's that American flag that they planted. But after that, missions of Apollo 12, Apollo 14, Apollo 15, Apollo 16, and Apollo 17 all had landings on the moon. So it's still been about 50 years since people have actually walked on the moon. But they're not going to walk on the moon this time. But after 50 years, humans are going to be near the moon.
Very, very cool. So, I wonder what this year is going to be called. I hope it's something to do with the moon. Or maybe it'll be something to do with the planet we're on as well. It could just be that
Maybe.
again.
Now that we've given you two exciting stories, and the first one underwater, the second one in space, we have not forgotten about the quiz question for this week. And this week's quiz question has something to do with the intelligence of the octopus that we talked about. What is our quiz question for this week, Debbie?
Before I give you the quiz question, though, there is one other thing. So do you know a lot of people, this is like a conspiracy theory, or maybe like, use your imagination. A lot of people would like to believe that the octopus is actually an alien.
Ooh.
There's theories like that.
Yeah. It looks like
know
an
why?
alien.
Yeah, it looks like an alien. If you look at an octopus, it looks a little bit like an alien. It can squirt ink like a superhero, dark ink to confuse its predators and escape. Like
But
we
so
told you,
does
it
a
can
squid.
squeeze to... Squid, yeah, I know, that's true. But an octopus is like the ultimate camouflage creature of the ocean as well. Like you said, they can also change colors. They can change texture. They're shapeshifters of the sea. Their arms, they have 8 arms. And supposedly each arm has hundreds of suckers which can taste and touch at the same time. Half of an octopus's brain cells are in its arms. So its arms can actually make decisions without the main brain. Like, isn't that
crazy.
insane?
That's amazing. So do you think the aliens are going to start invading us now because the year of octopus?
Okay. I think that's a movie that you can write, a movie script that you can write, Kiran. Maybe the octopuses are aliens, or maybe they're just one of the coolest creatures that ever inhabited the earth. Speaking of, let's talk about this intelligent creature. The quiz question this week is, which octopus became famous for correctly predicting the results of 8 football matches, including the final match during the 2010 FIFA World Cup?
Oh, that was
Look
such an
this up.
exciting time. Yeah.
Very, very exciting time. Very, very exciting story. I was tracking that particular octopus as well during
so was
the
I.
2010 World Cup. The options that we're going to give you are: option 1, was he called Hank? 2, Paul. 3, Kraken. Or 4, the Octopus King.
Oh. And this guy was so good because before every match in his tank, he would basically get a choice of the 2 countries that were playing, and he would choose which one. He would go and that's the intelligence I was like pressing a switch, right? Like I was talking about it. So
Wait,
cool.
I mean, was it really intelligence? Because, I mean, he was just guessing.
I don't know.
right?
I mean,
There's
if you're
no
talking
way.
about them being aliens, if you're talking about them being aliens, maybe they saw the future or they knew the future and could predict it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe.
That's cool.
I mean, maybe we should all listen to the octopus more, right? Anyway, look that story up and send us your answers on www.takarokids.com, or you can send us your answers on Instagram. Get someone to help you do that. Send us a message and we will be picking a winner, a lucky winner, and also the correct winner, right, Kiran? Not just a lucky winner.
Correct answer is very, very important. It's not just about sending in an answer. So do your research. Was it Hank, Paul, Kraken, or the Octopus King? And you will get a gift voucher and a Takaro Kids t-shirt. Does not mean you have to be the first to answer it. Does not mean that you have to be the first time that you're answering it. You can answer it how many times you want, and one lucky winner gets chosen every week. Last week, we had asked you, what is Trump's new international organization called? The one that is there to help rebuild Gaza.
His group of friends.
Correct. Option 1, Board of Friends. Option 2 was Boards of Canada, which happens to be a music group, by the way. Option 3 was Board of Gaza. That seemed very logical, but that was not the right answer. Option 4 was the right answer, the Board of Peace. And we had so many entries this week. It was so awesome to see. A lot of you went to our website and filled in the form. That's the best way to do it. In fact, we noticed is there were a lot of entries from a single school, and all of y'all had sent in your individual entries with the school's email address, which is very cool. Keep doing that, no problem. And so the winner of this week's quiz is Elena, who is a 12-year-old from Bangalore. And Elena, you seem to have given your school's email address, which is hello@papagoya.com. So that's where we're going to send over your gift certificate. And we'll get the address and send over the shirt as well. Good job, Elena. Be like Elena and participate in this week's quiz. Until next week.
It's time to say goodbye.
Bye-bye.